to the Crust Corner.
What's up, Mr. Jekyll? How are you?
What's up, buddy?
How's it going, man?
It's going great, brother. Great.
Another week.
Yeah.
We can check off and put it in our back pocket, right?
That's right, man. Yeah, and hopefully, like most of the country, getting closer to a little relaxation with COVID stuff. So that's very exciting news.
Yeah, it remains to be seen. You know, it's like I was thinking about the. It's like here we are in March, and March is always this. We get this tease of spring, you know.
Yep.
And the next thing you know, it smacks us in the facing, and it's like, no, we're not ready. You're not ready for this.
It's like a big joke.
I hope that the COVID situation is headed in the right direction, but you know, we're in this groove. We're doing what we have to do to kind of deal with things. Obviously, adapting with we've seen so many people adapt in a ton of different ways, which is pretty awesome. Some things will go back to quote unquote normal. Some things will stay the way they are, and it's gonna be an interesting thing over the next year or 2 years or whatever, you know.
Exactly. I'd been talking to some folks locally that own some shops, you know, different types of like bakeries and stuff like that, and they were talking to some of the health people saying that they would think that masks in this area would probably be mandatory for probably maybe even up to another year from now. But you know what? As long as we can get out and start to get back to live music and all the fun stuff we want to do, it's like, come on.
That's on the top of your list. I know it's on the top of your list, dude.
Yeah, man. It's like, come on already. Let's go, you know. And obviously with the CKD brand, we want to try to do some fun stuff too. So
yeah. I know. Get out in the real world, and that part's killing me. But it's so funny too, because I think about our Saturday nights, and since we started doing this stuff, and before that, and at one point it was every night, because we had the opportunity to go to a small bar to catch a show, go to the brewery, you know, just whatever, and it was like the things we were kind of check. You go back a couple of years, the things we were checking off before we went out were a lot different than the responsibilities that we have. And then you know, tonight was kind of funny, dude, because I'm like getting myself together, you know, in the basement, grab my beer, do this, and I'm doing some stuff, and Andy comes down and she's like, Dad, you need this, you know, like for your notes or whatever, and she brings me this pencil. It's like a little wooden.
There you go.
As she comes down the stairs and she's like, "You're gonna need this." I said, "You know, that's good. I might have to take some notes." So, and then on the way up the stairs, she says, "Oh, when you get a chance, take a look on the wall." So she had scribed her name in red on the wall. So.
There you go.
What's up, Taya?
Taya, hi. Jeff, what's going on? Christine, hello. Welcome. Thanks for popping on, as always. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So we did shit, man. We we're on 2 weeks ago, right? When we were chatting with Calvin.
That's right.
Great show, a lot of freaky stuff. It was interesting because it was the first time we had technical difficulties, and it happened to be on the show that was about supernatural shit. So and he's a skeptic, and we were like, what the fuck's going on?
I know, man. It's one of those things, right? It's like a big oxymoron.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. So yes, Corey J.
And he won.
Oh yes, absolutely.
T-shirt contest.
Yeah, that was
Bravo, Calvin.
Yeah, bravo. That we had it was interesting to watch the votes come in and then tally the percentages as everything was coming in, and there were two designs that were neck and neck, and it was like a horse race at the end. I was like, oh my god, you know. Of course, you know, he was like, god damn it, you know, kind of competitive spirit, but he did pull through, and he worked hard on that design. So that went. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's in print now.
Sweet.
The screen's done. The first two runs went off. Calvin got the first shirt, and then I already got some orders for the Be the Storm design. So that's great. I'm stoked for him too. You know.
Excellent. Hey, Bill, what's going on, man?
He wants a wooden pencil. Yeah. I bet
Lisa, hello.
Yeah. So we are the Crush Corner, and
we are.
When we come into our little intro segment there, cheers. At the end of the little intro is Crush Kill Destroy song from Spaz, which I had reached out to Chris and talked to him about using. He was totally cool with it. Awesome dude. But that is really the avenue that led me to start chatting with Matt McGachy from Cryptopsy and start chatting with him, because when we were doing our research to find some stuff out about Chris, a little deeper stuff, I found Matt's podcast, which is Vox Hops, and the more that I watched of the podcast, I was like, maybe we should talk to Matt. So that's how that kind of came about. So I'm super grateful, and it is this incredible relay or ping pong reaction that's happening with meeting people, especially reaching out in this platform that we're not out in the real world, and I'm grateful for it. Where I fought technology for a long time, I've completely embraced it. And I mean, that, like you said, I mean, it was either try to figure out ways to connect or continue just sort of wallowing and just being disappointed. But this is, like you said, we're coming up on a year now, and just been going as strong as we can go. And it's been great, man. It's a lot of fun trying to spread the message, get all the folks on that are, continually crushing, killing, destroying every day, whatever they're doing it damn good. You know what I mean? Yeah, seriously. Let's get Matt here and chat with him.
Sweet. Let's do it.
All right. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
Good. Welcome. Thanks for coming on the Crush Corner. Definitely appreciate you taking time to do this with us.
Of course. No, it's super cool. Very chill. Yeah. Saturday night, we're going to drink some craft beers and have
right on. Oh, yeah, we are.
And metal. And this is a nice little brew from New England Brewing Company.
Yeah, man.
Miraculously made its way to my house.
How did that happen?
Nobody knows.
And I gotta say, you have just the most dynamic wallpaper behind you, if that's what it is, because it's like a spiral staircase, right? It's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome.
didn't paint our house when we bought it. We just put up these wallpapers, and little did I know how much I'd be sitting here.
Yeah.
Throughout the course of this year, and cheers. It's basically my office,
That's awesome.
It smells cool.
Yeah. So is that from watching the Vox and Hops podcast, I definitely see that is the first thing that you like to recognize is the cracked beer in the beginning and talk about it a little bit at least. So is that the first time you're trying the Gold Stock, Matt?
It is.
Awesome.
When these miraculously arrived at my house, I was doing a sober February. So I was very diligent, and I have not tasted this at all. So it is very weird. They call it it's called Gold Stock. It's the name of this brew. It's a weird little intercontinental bastard ale aged on oak chips, clocks in 6.5% ABV. It's cool. It says it's got some English and German malt in it, a mix of US, Czech, and German and New Zealand hops.
Yeah.
It basically sounds like a beer that brewers made with whatever the hell they had left over.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
It is. It's a solid beer. It's probably one of my favorites too. They brought that back not too long ago, and a weird little beer is a good description because our friend Craig actually does most of the label designs for New England Brewing, and they're actually really weird. I'll have some beer I'll show you later.
Yeah, I have one too. I have one of theirs as well.
What are you drinking, Corey? What are you drinking tonight? Actually?
I'm drinking right now from our friends at Tribus, local here in Milford, Connecticut. I'm drinking Gulp. I'm starting out, Matt, like low, and then I'm going to increase as we go. You know what I'm saying? So this is a 4.7 session IPA that actually they won an award for. I found that out tonight. I didn't even know that, but it's a very tasty, scrumptious, hazy little session that goes down very smooth.
Gorgeous.
That's awesome. I have I'm drinking a New England. It's a Baby Bot, which there's actually a pretty interesting story to this, Matt. Maybe I could tell you a little bit later. They had some legalities and stuff going on with it, but it's it's another IPA. New England does a lot of IPAs, and that's another one of my favorites. But
they're doing very well too.
I I definitely would like for you to give us and these guys hanging out with us a little background. You are up in Canada. I don't know if everyone is aware of that, and where you're from, if you're originally from Canada or not. If you wouldn't mind just giving us a little background.
Sure. I grew up in a small city just outside of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, called Two Mountains. It was Two Mountains when I was growing up because it was more English than Francophone, because being from Montreal, it is a very Francophone area.
Yeah.
I grew up as an English child. I was thrown immediately into French elementary school, which I'm very grateful for because I learned how to speak French very well thanks to that. I subsequently went to an English high school where I started playing in bands. I was in grade 10 when I started dabbling with music. I always wanted to be a musician. My father really introduced me to music in the car, driving around. He was a big metalhead, still is. The Black Album was a huge album for him, and I benefited from that. He really liked Bon Jovi, Journey. My song growing up, my first real passionate love of hard rock, let's say, would be Europe.
Yeah.
The Final Countdown. I was like, Dad, I have vivid memories of Dad, play it again, Dad. And he did. He was cool. He was chill, and he did. He still is. So then finally got into went to CEGEP, which is college. Here in Montreal, started to get into a little bit more serious bands. That's when I joined 3 Mile Scream, which was the first band that I was in that got signed.
Nice.
And then through 3 Mile Scream, I joined Cryptopsy, which is, one of the most influential death metal bands in the world, with a little album called None So Vile and Whisper Supremacy that have totally changed the extreme metal genre since then. And back in 2018, I started my podcast, Vox Hops, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians, talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. And I've been doing that since then, and we've released, over 235 episodes. I think I just dropped 238 yesterday, actually.
Yeah, that's incredible, man.
That's awesome. Good stuff.
So all the episodes are pre-recorded, and then you release them, right? Because have you done much live stuff maybe in the last year or two, or maybe in the last year since everything has happened? Have you had the opportunity to come on live with other folks that are doing podcasts or interviews or whatever? Or is it
I have dabbled with a few lives very early on in the pandemic, because at first Vox and Hops was never something that was supposed to be done remotely. Yeah. It was meant to be backstage, me hanging out with my friends. Sharing a brew and picking their brains.
That's
which
awesome.
Is what I would do anyway. So I just started recording the conversations. And then when the pandemic hit, out of necessity, or I saw the opportunity really, that everybody was home and everybody was eager to still promote their new records, and publicists realized that as well. So they started sending me a lot of excellent guests that I would have never had the chance to have a chat with, hypothetically.
Awesome.
So yes, at the beginning of the pandemic, I did a few live things via Zoom. And it crashed a bunch of times, so I never did it again. But I have jumped onto other people's podcasts that do live stuff.
The live stuff is always a risk, but I think we like the thrill of it. We're just crossing our fingers. I've had Corey completely disappear, and I've just been kind of sitting here by myself. But we just roll with it. So that's awesome.
We roll.
So coming out of sober February, no drinking the whole month, right?
No drinking. I enjoyed a lot of non-alcoholic craft beer.
I did the same thing, but it was the last 3 days of February, the 29th, the 30th.
So I chose February for a reason. There are only 28 days this year.
Smart.
How
and non-leap year.
Non-leap year. Yeah. How was that experience, being that you have the Vox and Hops? You're a beer guy. Was it a temptation where you're like, shit, man, I can't wait for this to be over? Or was it like cleansing, or were you feeling good? Like, what was your overall feeling at the end of it?
I typically do a sober month. I have done it for the past few years just to give myself a little bit of a reset. I am someone that enjoys, a craft beer here now and then and again, which hence why I have a podcast about it. But this month it flew by super easily. There's a bunch of great non-alcoholic craft beers going on in the Quebec region right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Notably, Radlbuck has a killer New England, which is just so tasty. And then there's this new one that just dropped called Wow by Le Bazar, and I had them on the podcast. It's just so good. It made it so much easier. Temptation, no, because I needed a break. I'm someone that pushes really hard, and I need to find a bit of balance in regards to doing too much. So since January, I've been looking at things differently and enjoying life, metal, and craft beer, but a bit more responsibly because there's always lots of delicious beer in my fridge, thanks to excellent humans that like to make things appear at my house, and I'm never at a loss for them. So and there's always a reason to have one. So I've decided to be more mature about it and have a more calculated and responsible approach to alcohol.
When you have the opportunity to, when people are so generous, it's tricky. I mean, I'm in the same boat where I actually work very close to New England Brewery, and it's a regular visit weekly. We grab a pint, but the guys there are just if they're coming to get tattooed, they're like, hey, I brought a case of this stuff that's getting released tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And it always seems to be timed with that thought that I'm like, you know what, I think I'm going to take a little break, do a sober week, and then this beer appears, and it's like, fuck, so it's
I now since January I have days where I will enjoy beer. Specific days, and that's when I record my podcast episodes, and I like to keep that system. I have a friend here in Montreal that also has a podcast, so that's how he approached things. So he's doing very successful with that, so I wanted to sort of be inspired by him. So shout out to Craig from the BAOS podcast for helping me find some balance.
There you go. Here's to Craig and balance.
Here's to Craig and balance.
Cheers.
We have a brewery that's probably about 2 years young, maybe. It's called Athletic Brewing, right? Corey, is about 2 years, and it's non-alcoholic beer. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I am. I'm talking to them right now.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's awesome. One town over from me in Stratford. They made, and I went there. My buddy's band played there a couple summers ago, and I was floored by how good it was. I mean, really tasty beer. Absolutely good.
Super convincing. I was doing the same thing. I was watching my diet and stuff, and I gave it a shot, and I couldn't believe how good it was. Like how convincing it was. It wasn't like drinking
like an O'Doul's or something.
Yeah, like an O'Doul's.
No, nothing even remotely close to something like that.
I have a funny story about O'Doul's. I didn't know exactly what an O'Doul's was. And I had a chat with the drummer of the Melvins, which is being released shortly. And he told me he was drinking an O'Doul's, but I didn't quite understand that it was non-alcoholic. Until afterwards, when I was doing my post, I was like, oh, now I understand all the references he was making.
That's funny, man.
That's great.
Awesome. So I was wondering if you had a history or knew the origin of the name of the band, of Cryptopsy, if there was any specific meaning to it, because I was like, I don't really know what Cryptopsy means, or if it's two words put together or something like that. Can you tell us about if there is any? From
what I've heard, and I wasn't there, I was probably like 8 years old when this happened, and I think Lord Worm came up with it, I would imagine. And it's like whenever I explain the name to someone, I say it's like a cryptopsy. So I assume that he thought it sounded cool, and that's probably where that came from. That would be my best answer, but I don't know if it's the truth.
It sounds really good.
I'm not gonna lie, I had to say it a couple times before it rolled off of my tongue more easily. Cryptopsy. So
cryptopsy is always how I get people to grasp it.
That helps. Got it. So you're talking about 3 Mile Scream, and you were in. Were you in other bands before 3 Mile Scream? Because you said that's the first band that you got signed in, right?
That's right. No, I grew up playing in many bands throughout high school. I had my first love of brothers that just hung out together. Yes, Cryptopsy does pair well with vodka. Yes, we have many horrible nights with vodka. Actually, Flo has a drink which is made with vodka.
Oh no!
Flo's our drummer, the sole remaining somewhat, not totally truly original, but he was there right at the beginning. So original member, and his drink is called a Sunny Hamburg, if you ask some people, or it's called Flow Juice, and it's peach iced tea, but it has to be Nestea peach iced tea mixed with vodka.
Oh wow.
So dangerous.
I bet.
So dangerous, but you don't even taste
like a terrible hangover already, just the sugar and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. There was one night on tour in Europe. We were on tour with Jungle Rot and Disgorge, and I think we went through 3 bottles. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, that was a night. It was fun.
Wow.
It was a very fun tour. Back to high school. My first boy, like my brothers joining a band. We formed this band. Initially, we were called Numb, and then eventually it transformed into a horrible band name called Nixtasm. My parents were super cool. My dad, being the metalhead, let us jam in my bedroom. My bedroom was the jam room, and I still talk to those guys to this day. We were really like an Incubus inspired, alternative rock band. I didn't scream really. I did a little bit of some screeching maybe. My bassist Joe, who I've had on the podcast for my birthday special last year, awesome. Handled the gutturals. He's actually the person that showed me Pantera for the first time.
Oh wow!
And nice. I was like, this is really extreme. I could never ever scream like that. I could never do that. I remember being in the car with him and him showing me that. Yeah, and I was like in the new metal world, and I was showing him Slipknot. He was showing me Megadeth. He showed me Tool. He showed me Pantera, and we were like totally at odds with each other musically, but we somehow all fit together.
And Matt,
Nixtasm went. Sorry, go for it, Corey.
Oh no, I was gonna say, did you always want to be a singer, or did you ever play instruments? Yeah.
No, I always wanted to. Even as a kid, I would imagine in the car, just Richard Marx. Wherever you go, whatever you do. I was always a singer. I wanted to be a singer. I imagined singing. I would sing all the time.
Nice.
I tried out recently. This is hilarious that I realized how inappropriate the song choice was for a child of my age for a talent show in Two Mountains where I was growing up. My parents, being very supportive, also didn't realize how inappropriate the song choice was. It was a Meatloaf's 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad. So
nice.
Grade 7, how old am I? I'm 13, singing about, how I'm just going to fuck this girl, but I'm not going to marry her, So with that being said, I didn't make it into the talent show.
Oh,
but I had a good enough voice that the lady that ran it, she's amazing, Mrs. Cocking, still came to me at school and found me and invited me to come try out for the plays.
She was like,
and then through the plays is when I got my first vocal training with Mr. Schenk. Awesome dude. At lunchtime, we went into this tiny little room with a grand piano, and all of us learned how to sing. Got into the plays. The plays went well. And then I stumbled into the bands, Numb, Nixtasm. Nixtasm broke up because of a battle of the bands that went wrong, which left a horrible taste in our mouth. We won the first round, and we were super stoked. Just so excited. We thought we were hot shit. And then we went into the second round and we lost horribly. So that killed our motivation. And I stopped playing for a year after that until I got a call from Mike Marino, who's the dude that ran 3 Mile Scream. And then we started that band, and that band was meant to be a Nixtasm, Incubus meets Taproot meets Seven Dust, because right at that time in 2002, there's this band from Montreal called Pulse Ultra that got signed via Taproot. So everybody was jumping onto this new metal, melodic, somewhat screamy, back and forth. Vocals, I was crazy into Mike Patton at that point in my life. So I just wanted to do weird shit with my voice, which led me to start screaming a little bit more. And then 3 Mile really got inspired by the new wave of American heavy metal, meaning Lamb of God, Shadows Fall, Killswitch Engage. And then the European version of that, the Swedish death metal, the In Flames, the Haunted. All of that really shaped where my voice went for 3 Mile Scream. And then I stumbled into Cryptopsy, where I had to figure out how to be a death metal singer.
Well, I want to play a clip from 3 Mile, if you don't mind, because you're talking about the way your singing has kind of transformed. So I want to just play this real quick. So at this point, you're still doing that real guttural stuff, screaming and stuff, and you are singing, but I'm not hearing that in Cryptopsy now. It's mostly the wah, right?
The gutturals have stayed, yes, and
the
gutturals have stayed. Some of the more fry screams that are going on there find their way into for like little accents more than anything else in Cryptopsy. I remember that video shoot. We were dirty hungover. Yeah. It was a funny day. Funny day. And when I recorded that record, that we recorded with JF Dashnet, who's the guitarist of Cataclysm, and I was doing like some of the guttural stuff that I was doing for the 3 Mile Scream at the time, and he was like, you know what, you'd be a really good death metal singer. Wow. And I had never had that in my mind, ever.
Well, you mentioned Randy from Lamb of God, and I think I read something. He described 3 Mile Scream as artfully orchestrated brutality. I love those 3 words together. I think it's a genius. And I listened to it and I was like, yeah, that's right on. Funny story about Randy real quick. He played one of his side projects. He played in this little bar in Wallingford, which is a town over from us, Cherry Street Station. And it's a shithole. It's just total shithole. But he was doing the side project. And he's there, and I can't even remember the name of the side project. It was so long ago, and we were sitting. I remember I bought him like a Coors Light or something. We're sitting at the thing, and there was a TV playing. It was kind of like fucked up, and the bar set. It was like an old house basically, and there was like a Misfits video on. He was like, "Fucking Misfits, man! There would be none of this other shit if it wasn't for the Misfits." And I was like, "Cheers, Randy." That was my experience.
Randy's super cool. I'm really lucky we met him. Yeah. Back in the day when I was doing 3 Mile Scream, because he came up here to Montreal to JF Dashnet's studio because our friends in Bloodshot Eye were recording with him. They were from London, Ontario. They had met him at a show somehow. They hit it off, and they hired him to come produce Jessica, the singer's vocals for that. And you can see all of this happening. There's a documentary on Amazon Prime called Working Class Rockstar, which 3 Mile Scream is a part of, and this whole thing is all documented. So that's how I met Randy. We hung out for about 2 weeks while he was here back in 2005, I want to say, and every time I've seen him since then, he's been super cool. Always remembers my name, everything. He's a friend. He's awesome.
That's great.
So you just said something that I wanted to ask you about anyways, because I never heard the term before. Fry scream. I don't know what that is. Tell me what it is.
It's basically like you're just using not all of the power of your voice. It's more of a calculated control expression of your voice by using the like flat part of your palate at the top of your mouth. It's just sort of like you take like and then you build that up into a scream. Yeah. It's a very controlled thing there's nothing going on with your vocal cords going on at all there.
That's crazy. So it's not coming from diaphragm stuff, is it? Like just
No, it definitely comes. The support is always there from the diaphragm, but there's actually nothing going on in the throat. It's all happening much more up in your head and your mouth. Yeah.
Wow.
What's that documentary on?
It's called Working Class Rockstar.
Working Class Rockstar.
And you'll see a very young me. I watched it recently for the first time in many years, and I was quite embarrassed. I was very drunk and had maybe enjoyed some other stuff right before my interview, and I'm very young.
Very young. Well, speaking of a very young you, so Corey and I was going to give you a little background about us, but I think that it can be summed up almost in a photo. So
oh yeah.
And you're probably talking. This is probably what do you think, Corey? Like I want to say like 86 or something like that.
Oh God,
Wow.
yeah, that's like 86.
Which means we have a couple years on you, but that. So being obviously you're born in the 80s. You're born in the 80s, right? So you're kind of coming up in the 80s and 90s with music influence, even with some of the bands that you've already mentioned. It's clear, and there's stuff that it's like I think as each generation goes, you're still connected to that generation of music, but it gets a little thinned out. So you're not starting as far as back. So for instance, Corey and I, we can relate to some of the 70s music, which is it's kind of before us. We're born in the 70s, but I have older siblings, so I listen to, I'm coming up on Black Sabbath, and like Lynyrd Skynyrd and the Eagles,
Zeppelin,
and even Ozzy in the later 70s and early 80s. And
oh yeah.
So it's neat. Like, do you feel like that holds true for you, or do you have bands that are maybe way back that you're really into? Obviously there's the handful of bands that are just standing the test of time. I mean, Sabbath, but is there bands that you kind of connect with before, maybe say like the new metal scene or something like that?
No, really. It would be a lot of my dad's music that really has stuck with me, that I still turn to. And then as I grew older and got beyond the new metal scene, I then went backwards and explored, Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
that's something that I'd never
one of my favorites
listened to. And to Mike Marino, actually, from 3 Mile Scream. I would sleep at his house sometimes because I would go to school near his house, and it was easier because I had a job right near there, and to travel back to Two Mountains and then come back in was just easier to sleep at his house. And I remember putting on a Pink Floyd, just a CD even in my Discman, while lying down in his room on the floor. And
sounds like a familiar experience, actually.
Hearing that for the first time after enjoying some other things that really let me escape. And it was awesome, and definitely dove deep into that. Same time. Really, a lot of the Mike Marino really helped me get some musical education. So
nice.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yep.
That's something that I didn't listen to. Rush.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Just really trying to get the education. My dad had Supertramp. That really
nice.
I grew up on that a lot.
Yeah.
And the classic hair metal stuff. My dad was really into that. But then because of all those bands, which is why I fell so much in love with new metal, I think, is that I hated guitar solos.
Yeah.
Because it was associated to my dad's music, and I didn't understand them for many, many years until I got Train of Thought by Dream Theater in 2003 or 4, whenever that CD came out. I picked it up, and that was really when I started to understand the beauty of a guitar solo and how it can be used. Because for that, I thought it was right after Nick Stasm ended. There was these bands that tried to pick me up because of the Battle of the Bands, and I couldn't understand the guitar soloing that they wanted to do all the time. It's they're like, let's cover Metallica. I'm like, okay, it's cool, but why are we playing? I don't get the guitar solo.
Yeah.
So that took a long time for me to understand, and now I do. But I had to go through those years.
Now
you got it.
Would you say
I like a guitar solo now because it means I don't have to write lyrics for that part.
That's very true. And would you say, Matt, I did a bunch of podcasts listening to stuff that you were being interviewed in, and there was a quote that I remember picking up on because the question was asked about what seems to be like an influence to Cryptopsy. And obviously not necessarily from the origin years. I believe 88 or so is when it started, when it was Necrosis and evolved into now what it is today. But the quote was basically, life influences the band, I believe is what was said. And I wanted to see if you could elaborate on what that means a little bit. Because there was a specific thing you said about one of the band members could hear like a machine making a noise, and that would trigger influence.
Oh, yeah. That happens all the time. That would be Donaldson. He hears I've seen that they're very gifted, talented musicians that I work with. So Ollie and Chris often speak about, oh, this riff feels like purple. This riff, that's a purple riff, and this riff is more red. But Cold Hate Warm Blood, that's a blue. That's they see riffs in color. I can feel them in color, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's wild.
So the story of the I think we were backstage somewhere and there was a fridge hum, and because of that he wrote some riff that probably never went anywhere but is on his phone voice memo something. But the band is influenced by life, and that's why it's constantly evolving. Cryptopsy has changed so much since the beginning. If you look at the style, we're still an extreme metal band, which is why they started using that term before I joined the band, because everything is changing. They could have made None So Vile Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, Part 5, and they hypothetically had Lord Worm stuck around, no offense to anyone else or myself, afterwards, because I love Mike DeSalvo's vocals and I love those records, but they could have been as big as Cannibal Corpse had they just kept giving the fans None So Vile, because None So Vile is a classic record. They hit a chord. They inspired so many bands because of it. And there's a reason why we still play, 3 to 4 tracks from it every night on stage, because the fans want to hear it. So had they kept putting that out, hypothetically the band would be bigger, but they didn't want to. They didn't want that. They wanted to challenge themselves. And why is that? Because their life inspires that.
That's great.
I mean, you talking like you were literally like a kid when Cryptopsy was a band, when its first inception. You were probably pretty fucking young. You were a little kid, right?
I was 5 years old when they
5 years old. Wow, that's incredible.
That's so wild.
we had to have early band practices.
You had packed lunches and shit like that.
I still do that.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, man. It's so wild, but it's pretty cool to see the evolution of the band and the way that has. I just heard a interview with Lord Worm, and it was like I believe it was from the fall of last year, and he's talking about like, I'm eligible for like senior housing now, and I was like,
because he said he was gonna be 55 or something like that, I think, right?
He was always much older than the rest of the band, so that's
a
few years older. So that's where that stems in. But he's exactly the same. He has not changed in the least. He's absolutely an amazing human, a genius lyricist. He understands the art of showmanship. Yeah. Just awesome. Who would have known if he would have stuck around where Cryptopsy would be?
Yeah. And it was basically, I believe, from his health that it was time to kind of take a step away from Cryptopsy. Yeah. I mean, from what I understand,
There's many different versions to that story, but
so you come and you have your own experience with your bands and stuff like that. Things happen, you're shifted and maneuvering through life, and then you're in Cryptopsy. You guys record some stuff, and you're getting some flack with the new version of Cryptopsy. I know you've heard this stuff, and it's probably beating a horse. And I'm not interested in really talking about that stuff, because, and from listening to you talk about it, I understand it, and it's like, fans are fans. My interest in that whole experience for you personally, now that I've watched some of the podcasts and listened to you and your motivation for what it is you do, specifically with Vox and Hops, which is to, in your words, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, get away from the persona of the rock star and like sit down and have some beer and be like, what's up, man? What's going on? Real life stuff. So that time period where, I only read a couple of things about that experience for you, and the stuff I read, I was like, "Fuck these fucking people," and I didn't really dig too deep into it. I didn't feel it was necessary, but I think with you, I want to know your thoughts about. Well, first, let me ask you when that stuff happened, when you're getting flack, for lack of a better word, for the newer Cryptopsy stuff that came out. What time period was that? What year was that actually? Are we going way back, or is this?
I joined Cryptopsy in 2007.
2000. Okay, I was going to say 2000.
I got the phone call on my 25th birthday from Flo saying,
"Right on,
we're choosing you."
Nice.
I was
That's
having
one hell of
some
a birthday
beers.
present.
I was still living at my parents' at the time, and we were having a birthday party. I was having some beers with some friends. I was very stoked, but then nothing happened. And I'm coming from 3 Mile Scream, where we used to jam 4 nights a week. Here I am, mid-July, end of July, I get into the band, and I'm calling them once a week saying, so are we practicing? What's happening? They're like, yeah, don't worry, we'll let you know. And we finally started jamming in February of 2008 when we had a tour booked in Mexico. So that was my first time getting ready to get onto a tour with, an international band, and I was terrified, absolutely terrified.
Because there's major global reach there.
Yeah,
like that's one of the things that I found. Like I didn't realize how wide a net that the band casts. It's wild.
So we worked, got ready as much as we could. I definitely was not prepared because I wasn't a death metal singer, and they hired me because I wasn't a death metal singer. They wanted to do something different,
right?
But I still had to do justice to the old material, which is what that tour was. We didn't play any new tracks on that first Mexican tour, and there's footage out there that I definitely don't want to watch.
Yeah.
But I did my best. I always strive to do my best. I thought that this was my big opportunity to shine some light on, because 3 Mile Scream was still going at the time. I wanted to raise that profile of that band up while still being in Cryptopsy and doing my best and honoring Cryptopsy. But I didn't know what I was doing, and it took me a long time. We jumped into the studio finally to track The Unspoken King, which is the record that everybody really did not enjoy. I also got very sick, Jeff. We ate some street meat the last night. Don't do that. It was so good though. I remember just it tasting so good.
After how many beers?
A few. a few. So I remember being in the studio. I remember just being focused and being like, "This is your chance. You can do this." My guitarist Chris, who's still in the band, was producing it. I was doing all my clean vocals, and he was looking at me like with this face of like, "Yeah, that's good," but he hated it. He still hates The Unspoken King to this day. Yeah. Does not like that record. We released it, and before we released it, a few tracks leaked, which people just destroyed. They hated it. They death threats. This was MySpace time, so there was fake pages that were created to mock us. We did not handle. The issue is that we did not handle the aftermath of this well.
Yeah.
Well,
that is why I think it really, really went sour for Cryptopsy, is because we did not take a mature defense stance on the material we were doing. We decided to be defensive, and I think that it really went against us. Had we released The Unspoken King as a side project called The Unspoken King, it would have done much better than it as a Cryptopsy record, because it's not a Cryptopsy material. It's very different. And it's not like I was in the band, having not been there. I joined in July, and then finally seeing the band just to prep for a tour, not to write material. Right. I received just tracks. And they were like, "We want clean vocals here. We want this here." And I did what they asked because I was the new guy in the band and I wanted to make them happy. Yeah. So a lot of fans think I came in and I made a deathcore record, but that's not true. I'm not even a deathcore singer. That's the least thing that I ever.
Damn you, Matt.
Of course I love Despised Icon. They're from Montreal, but I'm not a deathcore kid. So finally all this comes out, and what the big mistake that we did was we were doing Summer Slaughter 2008. It was such a cool tour, so many friends on it, such a just huge, Black Dahlia Murder, Cataclysm, Vader, Despised Icon, The Faceless, Born of Osiris. It's like they're all headliners now. Whitechapel was opening the damn tour.
No shit.
Psychroptic was on it, and I'm sure I'm forgetting one amazing band, but that's okay. And we opened up our show with this horrible sample of us making fun of a little person, like a young person that lives in his parents' basement that's shitting on Cryptopsy on the internet, and his mother's like calling him to come to dinner because he can't even cook his own dinner. So we thought this was hilarious at the time, and it is sort of funny, but it's not the right approach that we should have taken to have a mature reaction to someone not liking your material.
So you dealt with it the way you guys dealt with it back then, and now this is years later. You probably still see some residual shit, but it's in the past. But you have this experience. So you're talking about this is a recording that you put out there, and that's kind of like it's a time capsule. It's there. It's out there. It's going to be picked up from time to time. People are going to hate it or love it. And we're living in the digital age. So there's these things come up where now, especially, we're doing all these recording, live stuff, videos. I mean, Corey had a little bit too much to drink one night on the Crush Corner, and that's out there now. But now with what you're doing, I think what I'm interested in, because I see it in all different aspects of whatever, art, music, just life in general. But people, they have this. You can go back to MySpace, and that was the beginning of this podium, so to speak, or social way of interacting that gave us all a voice, and we were like, "Fuck this dude," this sucks, So it's like, what's your thoughts on why people seem so quick, especially nowadays, and especially for us, because we've had a hell of a 4 years here in the States, but to judge and attack people, is it strictly the opportunity with the digital world? Like, what do you think? Like, because you're talking to people on the podcast all the time, and maybe you put a podcast out there and somebody could leave a comment and be like, "These guys are idiots." They have that quick response. It's like, so what's your thoughts on that now, especially now that you dealt with some of that stuff, and years later here it is, you might have a different mindset. Maybe you're not going to go out in front of an audience and be like, "Yeah, fuck you, kid, live in
the Jay and Silent Bob approach,
Yeah.
which we joked about a lot during the Unspoken King, because that was around the same time. I think that it's just, there's no consequences anymore. So you can write a comment and it doesn't matter. The person will never know who you are, what you are. They won't take the time to actually come find you like Jay and Silent Bob did. Yeah. There's the impact of social media on people's interactions is major. It's something that is detrimental to especially young people's social self-esteems.
Crazy.
And it's tough. And social media platforms are created to make us feel like shit. They want us to keep going. That person that created the ever-flowing feed, it's one of their biggest regrets that they've ever invented. Yeah, because it's there to keep you trapped. You're supposed to feel like shit when you're on social media, and then we're conditioned to be addicted to it. It's never ending. The gratitude. It's that hormone, that endorphin buzz that you get by seeing your phone vibrate, and you have to see what it is. You have to. It's an addiction. So negative comments is you can look at them constructively, or you could not look at them. I have a saying on the podcast up until recently, which was you never read the comments is rule number 1, and rule number 2 is you never respond. But I just had Finn McKenty from the Punk Rock MBA on my podcast, and he vehemently responds to every negative comment, and he's not mean about it. Vehemently is the wrong word. He rigorously or responds to every comment and pays attention to every comment, even the negative ones. And I asked him about that, and he says it's very important, especially if it's constructive criticism, because that's how you learn to make things better. So it's interesting to have a dialogue with someone, even, as long as they're not being just juvenile and horrible humans. Right. So I think I hope that something evolves in the world of social media to keep our kids safer, to help us even as adults cope with this addiction, which is, I see it getting worse and worse for myself for the podcast, because I try to stay on top of everything and connect it with as many people as possible. But it's an addiction, and it's one that I think for me, my addiction to social media is way worse than my addiction to craft beer, which I just opened a new one. This is
I did too.
Fathomist.
Yeah, that's
the German style Schwarz beer from Counterweight.
Yeah.
They make some good product. Yeah. I just opened up a Nebco product, our New England folks. This is Tickle Party, 5.8 IPA. Again, just nice and crisp, smooth, little hazy. Got a nice little fruity little back end to it. It's nice.
Very nice. This reminds me a lot of last year I was sponsoring Devastation on the Nation before it canceled because of the pandemic. And I had created craft beer parties in many cities in Canada. And Henderson Brewing in Toronto made a dark lager for Vox and Hops and Devastation on the Nation called Devastation. It actually tasted a lot like this. I'm actually really enjoying this.
That's awesome.
Counterweight is actually an offshoot of New England Brewing. So they had the brewers had a falling out, and Matt, actually his name's Matt, he started Counterweight, and the thing grew so quickly. It's a big facility, and still he's just doing solid beer. So I just grabbed a dose from New England. It's did I have a dose before? Oh no, I had a Baby Bot, but this is one of those trippy cans I was saying that my buddy.
I love it.
And actually, there's my favorite part of it. It's like kind of
like a little tab on the tongue. That's a heavy hitter too, right? Isn't that like an 8%?
It sums up the experience of drinking even just one of them. So,
but going back to the Unspoken King, like, because so doing the research, it was nice to get a chance to listen to, all of the music over the years with the different singers and stuff like that. And obviously, to the point Jimmy made earlier, this, major eruption of a new singer, new change in direction. So me going into it very open-minded, I mean, to me, I thought it was really, really good because like one of the songs that stood out was The Headsman, I believe it was one of the tracks.
Yeah, and I played that live for a bit. Yeah.
That is now, a workout track for me. It's got energy, it rips, you sound great. And one of the things that, it dawned on me, like reading some of the things you guys were saying and being frustrated with some of the comments and stuff and different things, was like, it just seems like people today, and even in that instance, it's a sincere lack of awareness, right? Like if you knew if you're really aware of how your comments and actions could affect another person, even if it's through a computer screen, right? And they're reading something, it impacts people. You might second guess, like, just exactly what you're going to say. Because if you don't like it, then you just don't listen to it, right? But if you like it, great. But you don't have to go hoping people, I believe, crash in a bus. I mean, it's come on. That. I mean, what are we talking about here? Really? I mean, we're talking about music.
Yeah, the Cryptopsy is people's Bible. None So Vile is a very important piece of extreme metal history. So it and then Lord Worm came back.
Right.
He was gone.
He was gone.
And then it changed and they became more technical. And there's this guy that's not doing death metal grunts, this hardcore guy. So there was a big fight about that.
Sure.
There was Lord Worm fans, and then there was Mike DeSalvo fans, and the band was very mythical when Lord Worm was there, because they were on Wrong Again Records. Is that the right? I'm not sure. They were signed to a small label from Europe, and they had only toured Canada, and then finally they get Mike into the band, this American guy, and they change directions. They go more technical. They get signed by Century Media by playing Milwaukee Metal Fest. And that's really when Cryptopsy got big. But then there was always the nostalgia and the tape trading of None So Vile that created this mystique about Lord Worm. And Lord Worm they went down and they played in Knoxville once. So I've seen that online. Right. And they did a few shows because that's how they met Mike in the States. So I'm completely wrong there. So they did a little bit of touring in the States. And then, the first time in Europe was with Mike, and then that sort of blew up. And then Lord Worm came back. And they were so happy that he was back, and they got one more record with him, but it was not exactly like None So Vile. It was still technical and different. And then all of a sudden, Lord Worm's gone, and here now they have some young kid that's singing. So I understand that they were very upset.
But it's funny, because I liken that, like, I gotta say, because reading and just understanding that whole evolution and the comment you just made. I mean, I'm not growing up obviously like deathcore fans and Cryptopsy and all this stuff, but Metallica, that resonates with me. Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning. Oh my God, right? Even Master of Puppets, boom. And Justice for All, you start to teeter a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, no, I'm just turned off by you. I don't know why, but it just went another way.
It was actually the opposite kind of thing because I forget who produced. I think it was Black. So someone told James Hetfield to start singing. Like, you can sing, man. And when he was just doing his, and then all of a sudden they're like, you can sing. I don't know who produced that album. That
I don't remember
transition. They were like, you should start singing, and everyone's like, I don't know about this, but
I would never have said like, oh my God, like I still listen to the music, but maybe it wasn't like I could put the whole album on front to back, right? I'd have to be like, okay, this one but there was still some really good songs on those albums. They were still true, heavy riffs and things that you expected from the band, but maybe it wasn't 100% what Kill 'Em All was. But I wasn't about to start, finding ways to write the band and I hope you crash your butts. It's just ridiculous. It's like,
I think it was just the time too. Is finally the time that you could just DM someone.
It's like instant, and we can reach.
It's instant.
We can reach,
and especially back then. And there was not like now. And on Instagram, it goes to the other folder. So if you're not following the person, it goes into this weird folder that me running Cryptopsy's Instagram. I see how many of those we get a day.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, I just go delete them all. And just
and they make a button that says delete all.
Mine are awesome. No offense to anyone that's written, and I haven't responded.
Mine are always like pictures of little. I can see the picture. I'm kind of trying to see who it is. Request from, and it's always some hot chick. And
recently it's these. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's like 20,000 people in one message. I'm getting like so many of these a day. It's driving me crazy. Anyways, sorry.
But you know what? Through all of this stuff, like sometimes really, really good quotes can kind of bubble right to the top. And I think I found one, and I hope I have the reference correct.
Don't fuck it up.
But I believe Flo's dad said, and I quote, "If you have nothing good to say, shut the fuck up." I'm 99% sure I got that right.
That sounds like something that Flo would say about his dad saying.
Yeah. And that's true, right? I mean, just come on, opinions are opinions, but it's like, not everyone needs to voice them,
Matt, you're talking about the podcast, and don't read the comments, and don't or whatever it is that you said as a tool.
Don't respond. Yeah.
Right. It's as a tool to deal with that kind of stuff. What do you have any, maybe through your experience now, being a little more mature from those times, do you have any advice that you would offer as far as, even if it's internet related or not, and in dealing with maybe a negative response from people or negative kind of energy put on you, like brush it off, what would you say about like dealing with people like that, people that say, I hope you crash your bus, is it turn a blind eye, or what is it?
I see it like this is the maturity of level that, like, looking at things a bit more mature.
Yeah,
you'd have to look at the grand scope of the comments. If it's the 1% that is negative, and there's always people that will have mental illness in this world, and being in a band of the magnitude of Cryptopsy, you touch a lot of people. Yeah. So there's bound to be some people that are a bit unstable and don't know how to communicate very well. So my response now would be to ignore it, to delete it, to move away from it, not to engage with someone like that.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to make them feel like they have any power.
Right. Yeah.
Over how I feel in my day.
Yeah.
If and then you can look at this as outside of the art scene, or you can look at it as like a brewer. Let's say a brewer releases this beer. I think it's really good. I would go and write a review. I would say this is, super malty, super, it's got a little smoke to it. It's sweet. But if there's countless reviews where I taste this and it tastes like cheese or something.
Sure.
And I write that, and it's an honest thing coming from me. And, the brewer sees that and he's like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like cheese. I made that beer. I love it. But if there's like 20 people saying your beer's fucked up, it tastes like cheese, you'd have to re-examine.
Yeah, you might want to go back.
Your product.
Unless cheese curd, which if you get a hold of some, I know you guys got it all over the place out there. I'm just saying. I call it squeaky cheese, by the way. I don't know.
I love it. Yeah.
I love it. It's everywhere.
I miss it. Honestly, I'm
I'm
a vegan, so I miss it. But they have not mastered the vegan cheese curds yet.
Going into it was everywhere. I have a friend out there, and I would stop at a gas station. It was like,
it's everywhere. Yeah,
like a little bag of cheese curd. I'm like, anyway,
having worked at gas stations, they don't put those in the fridge at night. So,
oh no, that's like the street meat. Whoa.
so if there's, you'd have to reevaluate your product if not, a certain percentage of your fans are giving you a negative review, which is what happened with the Unspoken King, which is why we never made another record like that.
Yeah, right.
We just did not handle the reaction well.
Yeah,
I going back to that, but look at all the bands that are popular now in extreme metal: Cattle Decapitation, Shadow of Intent. They all have clean vocals. Yep. And the Unspoken King got a lot of shit because I was using clean vocals on it. So,
but you know what though? One of the things I did read, you guys mentioned that it seemed like fans came around though a little bit, right? Like would approach you at shows and kind of
all the time. Yeah, and they're like secretive about it. They're like, by the way.
Oh, by the way,
I actually really enjoyed the Unspoken King, and I haven't told my friends yet. All the time. At least every show, all the time, especially when I interview young musicians now for the podcast. They're always like, "Yeah, I discovered you because of the Unspoken King. I love that record. Cattle Decapitation rules." Yes, can't wait till they were on such a high before the pandemic. Being in a band with Ollie, who plays in Cattle as well, I was hearing all these tours that were supposed to happen. They would, I hope that they come back just as strong as they were.
Nice.
Let's hope. So speaking of shows, I have a clip from when you guys were in Osaka, and I want to play it real quick.
That was, what that was? That was, we played 2 more shows after that, and I haven't played a gig since this night.
So I thought it was pretty late in the tour before everything happened, but I want to talk about it in a second. So I'm sorry the quality wasn't that great, but
that's my sound man. That's Mega's video.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad
that's my boy.
Yeah. To give credit where credit is due. I think during like trying to find some stuff about Cryptopsy, the band, yourself, and listening to stuff and researching, I have definitely, and I think Corey might agree, we do have a couple of years on you, so we've gotten away from the heavy stuff. In a sense, I still listen to a lot of heavy music, but I was listening to stuff and I was having this sensation of going back a couple of years to these small clubs we used to go to, or bigger venues, and the energy. And
oh my God!
I just, as soon as I watched that video and I heard you say that, Circle fucking bad, like I had this flashback and I was like, whoa! And it's like this. Especially, you can, even in that small clip, you sense this. Maybe it's the distance, from being from Canada, playing in Osaka. These fans, they're just fucking jazzed up, man. And it's like that moment of anticipation and explosion from a mosh pit is something that I know
I'll never experience again.
Sadly. But it's an intense thing that can be seemingly violent, but the energy there is this positive thing. And I would say with confidence, Corey and I come from another school of the dance and the mosh, which was very collective and very supportive. That a fight or something like that was very rare, and
very rare.
Even as music has changed, the mosh pit has changed, where it was people were helping each other out. Then there was this period of where people were just like,
they wanted to hurt each other.
They didn't give a shit. But I think it's come back, and maybe it hasn't come back. Maybe it's come back. Maybe the love of the old school music has come back in a sense. So you have that same kind of, because we've been to shows, maybe not recent enough. I mean, I saw Agnostic Front, and I was hurting, and I was like skanking, and people were like, it was just this collective thing. It was a friendly mosh pit,
right?
So, like, in your opinion, what, we're talking about all this, all these comments that people had about that period with Cryptopsy and like negative stuff, and but you're at a show like that, and here it is. This is like someone who doesn't know anything about that experience of metal music and being in there would be like, this is fucking dangerous, man. This is scary shit. We got so smiles. Like, why is something like that an uplifting experience, basically, in your opinion? You're up there, you have a different perspective. You're on stage.
You're like the orchestra leader.
Yeah, I love it. Of course, it's what makes me want to do this is to watch that reaction, see that pop, and it's what I miss the most throughout the pandemic, is to not be able to have that exhilaration, that feeding back and forth. We're providing the crowd, and they're giving back to us, which is why I won't play a socially distanced show. I don't think extreme metal and socially distanced shows should be a thing. It's not realistic. It's not going to be entertaining for myself to the fullest, and it would be, you're taking away from what the extreme music is supposed to be. But it's a super beautiful community in Mosh Pit. It's full of love, as violent as it looks. And funny story is, I work in an early childhood education center. So I take care of young children in a day job. So I'm the orchestra leader. On stage, I incite this madness, but at work, I incite extreme calmness. I probably have one of the calmer rooms of the whole center, because I just like that type of atmosphere when I'm with a bunch of 4-year-olds. So there's a woman that I work with. Her name is May. She's amazing. She was visiting her family in China during this tour, and the next night was in Tokyo, and she came. And I didn't. It was sold out. It was crazy show. I can't remember how many people there. It was insane. And I was communicating with her via email. I had gotten her on the guest list. She was there with her daughter. Wow. And her 2 family members from Japan, who were living in Japan. I wanted to meet them before, to bring them side stage to keep them safe. That didn't happen. So I was on stage the whole night looking for May and wondering where she was and if she was safe. And she's never come to an extreme metal show before. Wow. And Osaka was crazy, like the footage you just showed, but the next night in Tokyo was absolutely bonkers. Probably one of the up there best shows I've ever played. Wow. Just the crowd was totally wacko. Wow. But in a nice, positive way. And I was so worried about May, but finally I saw her afterwards, and everything was fine. She was safe in the back, and
I can't.
That's so crazy.
I can't imagine it on that level, because I've talked to friends or acquaintances about coming to. I play in a cover band, like a 70s, 80s metal cover band, and we play these little shithole bars, and it's like, just in conversation, like, oh yeah, you're a musician, oh yeah, you play drums, I should come see you, and I'm like, and it's on like you're expressing on one level of your work and stuff, and then they come into this life, and you're like,
yeah. Well, I've been working there for 10 years, so she's known, and I would periodically go on tour all the time, so she's aware of what I did, and I always describe it as being very extreme. It's very extreme, but she enjoyed it. She was very impressed. Nice. I do try to not inform the parents of my group.
Yeah.
Until I absolutely have to about the band.
That's great. And jump around like what?
So I have.
What's the band's name? Yeah.
So there's a jealousy thing that I have also, and this leads into this question, because like so they don't, like the parents, they don't question the hair because like I don't have any, and yours is like amazing. And I'm jealous. I just have to say. So I would assume that maybe they'd be like, I wonder if like
no, you know, it's rather prominent here in Quebec for musicians to have long hair. So
no doubt.
And I play guitar the whole time at work.
Really?
All of the time.
Oh,
basically.
Oh, no doubt.
All of the time. I always have I have like a little Yamaha Junior, so it's like a little mini guitar, and I play that at least 5 hours a day.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not good at it. But I still do it.
I think
the kids probably love it.
Yeah, my group doesn't even pay attention to it anymore because it's always there. But if I go anywhere else, all the other kids love it to death. They know not to touch my guitar when I put it down.
I think Corey's trying to get you to send some hair back to the States.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, there's no secret. It's all there. For the past 2-3 years, it lives in this bun. I haven't taken it out. I used to wear it down. I don't wear it down anymore.
Yeah.
I keep it for the stage. If it wasn't for the stage, I don't know if I'd keep it, honestly.
Yeah. It's wild, man. When you spin that shit around, it's like, holy shit.
I think it's the longest it's ever been right now, honestly.
Yeah.
Wow. No doubt. That's so cool.
So in respect to the mosh pit and stuff like that, and the experience that I'm telling you, what my own experience is that it is this positive energy for the most part. You know, you're going to catch
so much love.
You'll catch a Doc Martin to the chin sometimes, which has happened to me plenty. But for the most part, it is this collective thing, and people trying to physically.
It's love.
It's love, and
I've stopped shows when people have, you know, we were on tour with a board and a dude fell wrong and stopped the show. We were playing in Canada once, and a dude snapped his ankle, stopped the show, gave him some merch as he was being escorted out.
Wow.
Well, I think that's what made me think of it, because you're talking about showing the positivity through your actions, and it made me think of what we're doing with Crush, Kill, Destroy, because a lot of people get it right away, and they're motivated by the sayings that are on the t-shirts or whatever it is, it's a lot of people use those terms and whatever it is they're trying to do well. But there's still, and at first glance, it's like it has a it can't have a negative. I mean, kill has kind of a negative kind of but we've used it so often to like, yo, you're fucking killing that, dude.
You're killing it. Yeah, it's a killer beer.
So I get right. Yeah, man.
The beer doesn't have a knife, you know.
Right. Or like I like to reference like kill negativity. Like that's kind of the way I would use the word. Like in a you know, if I had to tie things together. But yeah. You know, find a positive spin for something that's obviously got a pretty, you know, strong connotation to it.
Yeah, that's what really, really made me think and kind of reflect on the old mosh pits and stuff like that, which I totally dig.
Oh yeah.
So you're definitely not doing the social distance live stuff, but do you have any live stream stuff coming up?
I'm not interested in it either, unless we can do something truly amazing. You know, there's few people that have done it to the point where it's worth investing time to sit down to watch. And that would be like Behemoth.
Yeah.
They just killed it.
Yeah.
But how much did they invest in that? I don't know. Us being a independent band that just signed a record deal I can't talk about right before the pandemic hit. Don't have the budget for that. You know, we were offered something recently, and I said, let's not do it. We can't do it for that amount of money.
Yeah.
It has to be way more, because if we're going to do it, it has to be something memorable, huge. I'm not just going to rehash that set list that I played in Osaka,
right,
and play it again. It's already on the internet. Nobody wants to see that. As much as you want to see Cryptopsy play, you don't want to see us. It has to be something fresh, something new, which is why we're working on the new record. We're doing a full length.
Nice.
Awesome.
The guys are just about finished writing the music. I have a concept, a name, everything. It's just the pandemic has made my concept even more pertinent.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to start working.
Awesome.
I typically only start working once the guys are done. because I as Maynard said,
I was just going to say, that's so funny.
He doesn't want to, have to change things. No, I'm just lazy. No, it's not that. It's not. I have a lot going on. I like to catch the right ball at the right moment. I picture my life as a organized juggling act, working full time, having Vox and Hops running at the pace that it runs. Releasing over 120 episodes in the past year. I have to catch the right balls at the right moment, and tackling the record until they're finished with their parts is not something that I see using my time wisely. But I'm definitely engaged and super interested in what they're doing. It's Cryptopsy, that's for sure. But it's always an evolution. Some new colors, as Ollie and Chris would say, have been added. It's a bit darker. There's some weirdness, some strange vibes. A lot of the material was written in a cabin in the woods right when the pandemic hit.
No shit.
Oh, sweet.
So we started off on a high, and then it just, the 13th of March came.
Seriously, man.
And then everything just collapsed and we were sitting there, and we stayed for another 4 days, I think. And it was just pure darkness. But we kept writing, kept pushing ourselves. Chris worked really hard. It's fantastic. I can't wait to. When is it going to come out? I don't know. 2022, best case scenario, I'm imagining.
Okay.
With Vox and Hops, for me personally, there was some point in my beer drinking career, someone turned me on to craft beer, and I was very reluctant. I didn't know what an IPA was, and our friend Ed, who owns a brewery out here, this is years and years ago before he had the brewery. So just try this, man, try this. And I think it was I don't know what he was trying wheat beer, like a
Hefeweizen,
and it was. But he was like trying. I was like, I don't know, man. I'm drinking my Coronas and this and that. And then, so did you have an influence or a friend in your life?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Yuri Raymond, who was in Cryptopsy for a moment.
Oh no,
he plays. Okay. He's the singer guitarist of Unhuman. Crazy vocalist, just crazy human, super fun. He loves beer, loves craft beer, and he would always just come with these beers and share them with me. I remember going to his house to do some pre-prod for what became the 3 tracks that are on The Best of Us Bleed, and he took me to this little dépanneur near his house, and dépanneur is a convenience store, and we bought some craft beer together, and he would blend them together, which is still something crazy that not many people do.
I've never tried it.
Yeah, he would blend a blueberry beer with a stout, I think. I think if he's watching, he'll hate this. I've had him on the podcast afterwards. I love him to death. Since then, and then it just became like this thing that totally consumed me.
Yeah.
It started with this one brewery. There's a West Coast style IPA, Yakima IPA from Le Castal, that really changed everything. It was bio. I was trying to take better care of myself. I thought that this was a good choice. Not only that, but it tasted delicious. And then it just snowballed into trying until I had to have every one of them.
I'm a fan of trying. So you guys at some point, actually, this is my buddy Ed. He owns Lasting Brass Brewing in Oakville. And
very cool. Is he a metal brewer?
A metal brewer? He is a metal brewer, actually. Yeah, he's a hardcore.
Tell him to contact me. I have a huge project in the works.
Oh, okay. He'd
be into that. I've got one of his. I'll be cracking it a little bit to share.
Yeah, he's very experimental, very, very passionate dude.
Which state? Sorry.
He's in Connecticut with us.
Oh, perfect. I need one of those. Good.
And Ed was when Ed first got going. When the brewery got up and running, I think he had like $2,000 worth of beer he had just brewed, and he tasted it and he hated it. And I said, "Yeah," and I was like, "What? You could have gave it to me, man." But
no, you can't. You can't put your first foot.
Yeah, he
on
won't
the market with something that's not up to par.
He's
because
one of the most passionate guys I know when it comes to beer. So
and especially the craft beer game is so competitive. If it's way more competitive than like a music thing. So if you like walk into a store and there's like you're fighting for this shelf space in the first, and then finally the person chooses your brewery because you won them over with your sick can art, let's say, and then you take this home and it tastes not good. Let's say this is delicious, but if it doesn't taste good, you're never going to buy that beer brewery again. So you can't let a shitty batch out. You got to dump it. You got to swallow. I had a friend here. His name is JF. He's super creative. He contract brews, which means that you hand your brew. It's basically like a band writes an album, and then you hire musicians to play your album for you in the studio, and then you have to take that album and it's yours. And then you sell that. That's what contract brewing is. You walk into a brewery, you give them your recipe, you're not allowed to do anything, and then that's your beer.
Yeah.
Very frustrating. Wow. So he did that, and one of his batches of his New England, his session, he only makes session beers. It sucked. So he dumped the whole thing, but he created this video of him destroying 3,000 cans. He was like driving over some of them with his car. He had lined them up. He was like a chainsaw. He's a really cool dude.
Cryptopsy has a beer named
we
after
do.
It, yeah. How'd that come about? The Cryptopsy, right?
We just got it. The second batch just came out. I have some in my fridge.
I
might drink one after this. Yeah, it's a new world pilsner. So this happened very organically.
Is this the brewery that you just mentioned?
I was talking about Echo Session Ales, about JF destroying batches, destroying that one batch because he's a very good brewer and it doesn't happen very often. Kanawake has their own brew facility in Kanawake, which is a First Nations territory. So the brewer Drew is a metalhead that he was following the podcast because he had played with 3 Mile Scream back in the. Or actually, I was the member of 3 Mile Scream, Mike Marino, started a new band called The Catalyst for a few years, or a year and a bit. I was singing for them. I played with Drew's band at that time, so he remembered me from then. So he wrote me a message, and all he wrote last summer, he wrote Cryptopsy. That's all he said. So I was like, I'm super in. So me being a craft beer nerd, I know that Pilsner's Crispy Boys are hazies are super cool, but brewers and beer nerds love Crispies. So I was all about it. I thought it was funny. It had a nice tongue-in-cheek thing. Super cool. I was in. Chris Donaldson, who also likes craft beer very much in the band, is a hazy boy fanatic. So I was like, I like doing a crispy. Let's do it. But can we fuck with it and make it a New World Pilsner and double dry hop it with my favorite hops? At the time was Mosaic. So I asked for that. And that's how Cryptopsy came about. And Donaldson came up with the Pilsner Supremacy name, which is obviously from our, damn right, crispy. From Whisper Supremacy. And it's a New World Pilsner. We had to put that on there because it's totally not. It is crispy. It's delicious. But when you crack it, it's just you get smashed with like melon on the nose. It's crazy.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And then you pour it out and, you take a sip and it's pure like melon, mango, fresh fruits. And then it just ends up on a nice cereal crisp finish at the end. 4.8%. We get a lot of shit for that. Why is Cryptopsy, this extreme metal band, releasing a 4.8% ABV? Why isn't it 6.66? Why isn't it 12?
Yeah.
And, this is an avant-garde beer. This is, you don't see double dry hop Pilsners. No. It's not something that is common. Cryptopsy is not a common band. We think outside of the box, and this beer is that. The artwork was designed, is basically a reimagining of the Whisper Supremacy artwork, and it's a Vox Hops alumni. My friend Philip Ivanovic from Flat Bathtub is his Instagram handle or Instagram name. Super cool. He's amazing. He's designed some Cryptopsy album artwork in the past. He's done a bunch of logos for a bunch of bands. He's done some cover art for a bunch of people, and he's the best. And it's delicious. And we have cool few. I have lots of collabs in the works. I really enjoy setting up collabs. So there's some new ones with Kanawake, and there's actually 2 other Cryptopsy beers that are coming out within the next two months that I can't talk about But both of them are really cool. One of them that we've been trying to set up for quite some time, that is a Boozy Beast.
Nice.
That's so this, I know this is a rehash of some old artwork from one of the albums, and in research, coming upon the albums and seeing this guy, the little demon dude, I was like, fuck, man, like I think I tattooed this, or I saw and it was like someone I know. And so after posting some stuff, my buddy Matt, who was also in a band called Slumlord years ago, really cool dude, he was like, make sure you tell Matt I got, someone with a Cryptopsy tattoo. And I was like, that's right. And he had this little that dude like tattooed here, and then my buddy actually had tattooed his arm, and I just remember he just worked around this Cryptopsy tattoo, and I was like, that's who it is. And I've known him for forever, but I couldn't remember who had the tattoo, so I thought that's kind of funny.
That's badass. I love that. I love seeing Cryptopsy.
Yeah, it was awesome, man.
If another thing that's great about Vox and Hops is my Thirsty Thursdays, where I hang out with people from around the globe. Yeah. And if anyone from Thirsty Thursday is watching, they know that I have to take mat breaks, which means I have to go pee. So
this is perfect timing. Are you taking a mat break? Because I could use a mat break too, but my break. And I
Corey, do you got us? Okay.
I got you guys.
I'm gonna do. I got a little promo thing too, so that's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll be back.
That's perfect.
Oh yeah. I'll entertain.
Well, I'll do a promo, and then
do a promo. Rock the promo, bro.
Come back and see if I'm still here, actually, or if you're.
And we're back, but they're not. So I'm going to take over the airwaves. Oh boy. What could happen now? Well, I poured a new beer. Doesn't really look like beer because it's a fruited sour from our friends at Tribus here in Milford called Shower Beer. It's pomegranate red currants. It's got a nice, very smooth finish. Again, it looks like fruit punch, but it's not. You want me to dance? All right. We're going to dance a little. We're just going to
Looks like I came back right on time, baby.
Oh, yeah. I was just explaining this lovely beer I just opened from our buddies at Tribus.
Oh, shower. Wow.
This is a fruited sour. It's got pomegranate and red currant in it, and it looks like fruit punch. It tastes like fruit punch.
You taste it yet, bro?
Yeah, it's really, really yummy, man.
Nice.
Good. Very smooth.
It looks delicious.
Yeah, man. I was just saying, this is from Tribus. It's a fruited sour called Shower Beer.
Hey, it looked like that.
It's got pomegranate, red currant, 6%. So I'm moving up the ladder, getting there.
That's a perspective thing. I don't know if you're either moving up or moving down at this point. So you got it depends on.
Perspective. That's very, very good.
David.
Hello, sir. How are you? Welcome.
So Matt, we were talking about artwork on the can and stuff. I was going to ask you about the Vox and Hops logo because I think it's so awesome, man.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Thank you. That's my friend Andrew Tremblay.
Yeah, that
killer.
All may have to be a tattoo, Jimmy.
What the hops.
Oh yeah.
We've done some stuff here, Matt, with it seemed to be a thing that was happening with before the pandemic. A lot of tattoo and brewery stuff was coming together where we were doing these like pop-up shops inside the breweries, and it was like
cool.
Yeah, it was like beer-related tattoos, and it was starting to happen pretty frequently. My buddy Ed, who I mentioned from Lasting Brass Brewing, he celebrated, I think it's almost 4 years now since he opened, and his anniversary parties included my shop. So we would draw up a bunch of stuff like similar, skull hops and little pint glasses and shit like that, and we would tattoo in the brewery, which was good and bad because everyone that came to sit with you would bring beer over and be like, I brought you a beer, right before. I'm like, okay,
keeping those lines straight gets tough.
I do love that logo though. I think it's awesome, man.
It's my wife actually came up with the whole idea for everything. Who's the producer of the podcast? She helps me a lot, Jessica. Nice. She really has she's a project manager. She really helps me. I throw ideas a lot.
The strong.
She's the one that.
Cheers to the strong women behind us.
Yeah, she's the one that picks out of my multitude of ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got it. There it is.
I just got a batch, so I have to. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
you have to.
I've had one. I've had one so far.
Nice.
Look at that. The old man's got it.
Clarky, good to see you, buddy.
Clarky mentioned Voivod earlier before. I didn't have a chance to kind of.
Hell yeah.
Fellow Montreal band. And quickly.
Yeah.
So during my research, I didn't know then, but then I saw, I'm like, oh, they're a Montreal band. So I'm like searching now. I'm like looking around online for stuff. And I actually found the 1988 show that I went to see Voivod at the Anthrax, this place in Norwalk, Connecticut, that was just known for bringing in all kinds of punk bands and just great music. And I watched the whole thing. It was like an hour and 3 minutes. And I just was so like, oh my God, like I think I see myself. It was just a fantastic moment. But they were a great, fun band. Just like, again, 1988, and you're hearing this sound that's just like
blew my mind.
Like the same thing you're used to hearing,
Totally blew my mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one shitty tattoo that I got when I was 16.
There you go.
Knowing Christine, she'd probably want to see it, but maybe we can.
No, it's a shit. Funnily enough, it looks a little bit like a Cryptopsy bat.
Oh yeah,
really?
Which is very strange. Yeah, but it's a tribal thing that I picked off the wall when I was 16. Yeah,
that's.
But Voivod's killer. I've only ever seen the new version of Voivod.
Yeah,
gotcha.
With Dan on guitars, who's a Vox Hops alumni, just a killer.
Yeah, they rip.
Do you have any real significant, memorable? I'm sure you do. Episodes of Vox and Hops. Maybe one that really sticks out for you, or one or two. Something that you're like, man, this is really in depth, or something made you think about something differently, or something.
Absolute top few for sure would be my 1 year anniversary party, where I interviewed Lord Worm, the original Cryptopsy singer, in front of an audience. We were 60 people. The place was packed. At Turbo House. I had my friends from Le Fermenteur, who's a metal brewery here in Montreal, brew me my first collab beer.
Awesome.
It was a hazy IPA. It was called Highway to Hops. It was
nice,
a little bit green. I just talked to Jeff, the brewer, the other day about it. It was a touch green, and he knows it too. But I had the same beer a few days later at his pub, and it was delicious. But at the party, it was a bit green, but still appreciated that they made me a beer. Hanging out, Lord Worm was on fire. I had set up the chairs on stage, face to face, like profile to the crowd, so that we could still have a conversation and not.
Yeah, that's what.
And he got there and he turned it towards the crowd. And I was like, there was no crowd there at this point. This was like pre people arriving, and I was like, okay, we're in for a show. Yeah. And he was on fire. He was amazing. Man. Just hilarious. If anyone hasn't listened to that, I think it's episode 82 or something like that. Just
I'll go
so
back and look.
Good. There's no video of that. The audio is there, but there's no video for that.
Cool.
Sebastian Bach was amazing. Just never thought that I'd have a chat with him, and it was a funny story with that. Is it happens sometimes. It doesn't happen very often, but I launched these Zooms where I do my interviews, and then sometimes nobody comes, right? So
Yeah.
I spend the time sitting there looking at myself, and I tend to like do work while I do that because there's always something to do, right? I can prep for episodes that are coming up, or like record intros or stuff. And I had finished what I had to do for the night, and he still hadn't joined. And I was just about to get up and just drink the beer that I was going to drink with him. And boom, there he was.
No shit.
A good like 20, 25 minutes late. Boom, there he was.
That's wild.
And he was amazing. He was just singing.
That's awesome.
I think I asked like 2 questions.
Really?
And we went for an hour or maybe 40 some odd minutes. Just
that's great.
Super, super funny. That's one video that's been getting a lot of shitty comments.
Yeah.
That I just haven't touched. I just let them sit there because he talks a lot about the virus and how he believes about it. And he's not, it's more like people, that's where we've been getting, there's a lot of angry comments coming from Sebastian Bach crap.
That's a tricky avenue to go down to. And Corey and I have a little warning if we veer off like that, if that pops up, it's like
that's one little negative comment thing that I don't touch with a stick either. Another one that I really enjoyed was Jamie Jasta, because when I started the podcast, I listened to the Jasta show religiously. I really discovered the love of podcasts through his podcast. So having the chat to sit down with him and to present him with a sandwich, because he has this thing in his podcast where if you steal a riff from someone, or if you're inspired from someone, you owe them a sandwich. So I definitely owed him a sandwich. So I made him a sandwich and I presented it to him.
That's so awesome.
I mean, I think that's the beautiful thing about this kind of connection. When you have an opportunity to chat with someone like yourself, that's, so far away. These degrees of separation are pretty small because, I mean, Jamie literally grew up in a town over from where we grew up. So, and then I talked to Wayne, the guitarist from Hatebreed, who might be joining us pretty soon. And Wayne's a really cool dude. Like,
he's awesome.
He played a Hatebreed like anniversary show, and I was playing in this shithole bar, like our Crazy Train cover, and the end of the night, it's like 1 a.m. Here comes Wayne, comes in to have a beer with his buddies from Stratford, and he's like, so I really appreciate that about him. He's
we played in Belgium, and he watched us side stage the whole time. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
he's a great guy. He really is.
How do you picture the podcast changing if and when eventually things start to open up? Because you're talking about doing the podcast in front of 50, 60 people, and then you've readjusted to something like we're doing right tonight.
I think honestly that I'm not going to stop doing the remote thing.
Yeah.
Now that I can talk to people all around the globe, I'm going to keep doing that.
Awesome.
Because my reach is just so much farther. And honestly, like when I would go do an interview before, how it would happen would be a tour would come through town. I would go and hang out with my friends for the whole night. And I would take them there's this amazing bar that would hook me up with drinks for me and my guest.
Yep.
For the interviews, called Say Book. I love them to death. I miss going there. So I would walk these people back and forth and do interviews with them. And I would do 3 to 4 a night, let's say, when a tour comes through. And then I would release the episodes stagnated afterwards. But I'd be gone for, 5 hours versus doing a 40-minute podcast interview via Zoom is like I'm with the kids 5 minutes before, jump right in, and then I'm right back with them.
Yep.
So I really enjoy that. But I will enjoy going back to interviewing. I've teamed up with Heavy Montreal, which is Montreal's premier metal promoter. They put on a whole bunch of crazy shows. Any big bands that come through Montreal typically come through Heavy Montreal. They put on a crazy fest here. It's as good as, I've played fests all over the globe. It's as good as like Hellfest. It's as good as Wacken. Nice. It's super, super cool. Right on this little island in Montreal.
Jimmy, we got a road trip coming.
Oh yeah, please, yeah. If they get it up and going again eventually, hopefully, it's totally worth the trip. Crazy lineups. So I'm looking forward to getting back and doing because I've been the face of Heavy Montreal throughout the whole pandemic. So I'm excited to see what does that mean, me doing this for the pandemic and then seeing that after the pandemic. I'm also doing a bunch of stuff with the World Beer Fest.
Oh, yeah.
Is, Le Mondial de la Bière. They have a Montreal one. They have one in Paris. They have one in Brazil. So I'm very excited to see how I can keep working with all these people that I'm partnered up with once it's not me sitting right here.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, I got two of the podcasts that I've listened to that I'm glad I stumbled upon both of them, actually, because I was sifting through trying to find the ones that, I wanted to just kind of get a little feel for. But the second anniversary episode I thought was phenomenal.
That would have been amazing in person. It was,
oh my God. I mean, just the fact that
Lord Worm was so not happy that it was virtual.
Yeah.
He didn't know I wasn't going to be there. He didn't understand.
But what was cool is that you were able to get the moderator and be a part of the interview, because it just the four singers, there's just something about that. I've told Jimmy about it. I stumbled on it. I'm like, oh, you gotta check this out. And it was just so cool to hear you guys just.
We've never been in the same room together.
See, but you guys absolutely paid attention to one another's talent, the way you spoke about each other. I mean, it was such a well done interview. I thought it was just phenomenal. And then the other one, because so Jimmy and I, major Clutch fans.
Oh yeah.
So the Neil Fallon was stellar.
I think that was the first Heavy Montreal interview I did.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he was super cool. He was super cool.
Neil's so cool. It was great. It was awesome. Like both of those just resonated. And I was sifting through some others, catching a few, but I sat and listened to both of those for the entire time, because it was it was riveting, because it was just like so cool just to see your dialogue and then with the other three former lead singers. It was just really, really cool stuff.
I talked to Chris Dodge and told him we were going to be chatting with you, and he had nothing but nice things to say about you, and we had a blast with Chris too. And I think Corey and I might be notorious for getting. Chris was feeling pretty good by the end of the podcast, so we'll see where. I definitely.
And he might have got a package in the mail. Maybe, but I don't know.
It's within the same country, so it's not that bad. But
one thing I want to ask you about, which was a surprise to me, and I wasn't aware of, and you already mentioned it, but is the child care work that you're doing, and is this something that you can? I don't know specifically what you do, but are you doing stuff remotely from home as far as that work?
No, I'm totally at work. I take care of 4-year-olds, so it's basically like child care. I have a class of 3 to 4-year-olds. And I've been doing that. I've been working at this one particular center for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And I've been in the childcare profession basically since I went to school for it. And it was in 2007, right before I joined Cryptopsy, that I graduated. So I've been doing it since then. It's the only job that I was actually inspired to wake up for.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
Awesome.
Outside of music.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
You're making a huge difference in the same, and almost in the same way as being this performer in a band in front of thousands of people with kids like that. I think it's huge, and I definitely commend you for doing that. I think it's awesome. Which brings me to this new project you guys, your wife, yourself as a collaborator, is the book. Which,
did you? Oh my God, you rock!
Yeah, kidding me? This is amazing, and I like the simplicity of this book. And it's this is all I can think about when you were talking about one of the bandmates speaking about writing songs in colors and stuff. And it actually resonated with me. So for our folks that are hanging with us, this is you correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, your wife wrote the book and you collaborated through it, and then you had a illustrator who was Yen Yipun, art therapist. Yeah,
Jeannie Bond is the illustrator. Yen Yipun is the art therapist that collaborated on the book as much as I did, or in the same aspect that I did. It started really naturally. The pandemic hit, And me and my wife, being the way that we are, we talk out our ideas. Mostly, we have a lot of business meetings as we go for walks with the kids. We did some today. It's how we collaborate.
And how old are your kids, actually, if you don't mind me asking?
4 and 2.
Okay, so we're right in there. We're in the same experience. My daughter's 6. So.
Mine are teenagers now.
Yeah.
So they don't have anything to do with
different problems. Yeah.
But that's okay. I didn't want anything with my parents when I was 16 either.
So this is actually our second book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
we
that's
released
right.
one. We released one. It took, I think it was 8 weeks or 6 weeks when the pandemic hit. Jessica had the idea immediately. She's been trying to work with Jeannie for a long time. They worked at a project in a company together, really got along. They had a good vibe together. Jessica was a project manager there. She was thinking of starting a podcast with Jeannie and having her do some illustrations for it and do some interviews. And then finally it developed into let's do a book, a children's book. She's been trying to get me to do a children's book for years. We love reading. We have more than we need books in my house. It's
I hear you.
It's like beer at this point.
I had to ask my daughter if I could borrow this because she said, I put it in my library, Dad.
Oh.
I went up to get it and I said, I can't fucking find it. There's like books everywhere. She's like, I'll get it for you.
So the idea was just so organic, natural. We talked it through. Jessica wrote all the words to it and talked it through with Jeannie. For this book, I collaborate more so as an early childhood educator, where I try to keep it open-ended because I come from the school of Reggio Emilia, which is where all the activities are open-ended. It's very nature-based.
Yeah.
This book in particular is organized around using a way to use art to express your emotions.
I think that was for me to actually get the book because my daughter is very artistic and I knew she would gravitate towards it.
Awesome.
How is it being received? Are you getting any reviews or receiving it well? Or
people are enjoying it well. The metal community has been very cool about it. Metal Injection shared it.
That's cool, man.
Brave Words before that. Decibel's doing a piece on it in their next issue.
Great.
It's really cool. People are picking it up. It's an independent release. It's self-published.
Yep.
It's beautiful. Jeannie did a killer job. She's very, very talented. And it was all created basically around the whole rainbow movement, which was happening at the beginning of the pandemic, which shows we've been working on this idea for quite some time.
I did come across a review.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna show it to you. I don't know how you feel about it. I know people can be pretty tough, so let's take a look at this review.
Today my sky is gray. All the colors are hidden in my heart. I like it because it's all about rainbows and I like colors. Thumbs up for this book.
So that's my daughter.
I love that. That's too nice that you did that. It makes me so happy.
She really enjoyed it. I told her it was coming soon, and she was at school, and she was like, "Dad, what's up with the book? Is the book here?" I said, "Yeah, it actually came," and she has brought it upstairs every night since. And like I said, I had to find it tonight and get it for her. So she loves it. She loves that book.
That's amazing. I have it in my room at work. The kids seem to like that one more than the first one. Honestly, the colors are very vibrant. It's really Jeannie who did herself.
Yeah, I love the transition from the black and gray illustrations, and then it gets so colorful. So,
that was my idea.
I don't know. Do you have any words of encouragement for us parents, yourself, and people that may have children in the same age or whatever? During the pandemic, because I know it's
so hard.
It's so hard.
I would give my arm for a babysitter for a night.
Yeah,
it's we love them. We got to be patient. As much as this is new, our generation, what we're going through. You can put up your warning sign because I'm going towards we nobody in our age bracket has lived through something horrible.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, it's wild.
So we're suffering as adults.
Yeah.
So are they. My daughter, you know what she said to me last weekend as we were sliding outside?
What?
Daddy, do you remember when I used to make friends?
Oh, that's so profound. My God.
That's really profound. Yeah. I think that's one of the toughest things for myself to deal with is just because we can rationalize stuff and kind of figure out a way to get through stuff, but it's right. That's a tough thing. Someone was asking about the other book, Matt.
Yeah, that's called Today We're Staying Home. And that was really fresh beginning. We were all in social isolation. So it was basically the story of my family, Jeannie's family, and a close friend of mine called Roxanne, who I love. You're a really good friend. She's not watching this, but if she was, she would think that's funny. Her family was in it, and we like it's they. If you see them, you know it's them. But just enjoying these small little things. I created like a blanket fort in my hallway, so that's a part of the book. And it's just like, today we're staying home. Mom and Dad can't go hard at work. I'm not at daycare. I'm not at school, and just enjoying these small little things about life, and still finding pleasure and finding joy in the simple things of being home, and not being exposed to other humans. I'm very introverted, so the pandemic has not been hard on me, and I'm lucky I have the podcast because I could talk to so many people, and I still go out to go to work. So, but for a lot of people, it's tough being socially
traumatic. Yeah, for some,
it is tough. I mean, it seems like you have a lot of things going on. I mean, aside from the fact that you can't tour right now, it seems like you're obviously mentally active because you have all these projects going on still. So what's and you throw in some pretty strong craft beer, during that time. Is there something you do to avoid, especially being a parent, avoid feeling like burnt out from things and stressed out?
I'm trying to find balance. I honestly, I've been going. I had put in these new rules that I only record podcast stuff on Wednesdays or Saturdays. That's like and I'm moving towards that goal. But I started a crazy new project, and I've been doing stuff every night since not last Thursday, but the Thursday before, and I'm finishing on Monday coming up. So it's setting goals or that's really how it works for me, honestly, and that's how I've been living through the pandemic. Is awesome. It's the juggling act.
Yeah,
it's catching the right ball at the right moment and putting your attention on the right, energy in the right place. And then with the podcast, I've had these mottos throughout the years. I'm in my third year of the podcast. Mm-hmm. The first year, my motto was baby steps towards greatness. So I was going to just keep strudging along until eventually something was going to happen. And I believed that I was onto something. Metal and craft beer makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not many people have the format that I have. The second year was just keep going, don't stop. So that's where I started doing too much, and I was doing a lot, working full time, pushing.
Super encouraging to hear that stuff, because I'm almost in the same kind of thing with launching the Crush Kill Destroy clothing thing. It's been a little over a year now, and then starting the podcast as a way to reach out and to branch out, obviously brand out. But so that's nice to hear, and I almost have the same kind of mindset. It's like you give yourself this, whatever it is, a couple months or a year or something, and then move on to the next thought of where you're going to go, what direction you're going to go. So I appreciate you saying that. We have
right now I'm in my third year, and my third motto is work smarter. So that's where I'm at now. I'm trying to apply my energy in the right areas.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
This is actually perfect, because I wanted to relate to one of the. If you go on the CKD Clothing website, there's a about page, which it's basically dedicated to my father, because he's the inspiration behind behind the brand in a sense, and it's kind of funny because he was a pretty he was like pretty dorky dude. You know, he worked in a factory, wore pocket protector, but he was very driven person, and he was he just didn't give a shit about what other people thought about him, which made it easier for him to move through life. So there's a line within the description of what Crush Kill Destroy is that says it's a manifestation of ideas from those of us traveling on a different path with our best foot forward. And I think that kind of sums up pretty much what you've just said, is to just kind of keep pushing forward. And when I say a different path, it's maybe the decision to allow yourself to kind of move forward with these products and not just throw the towel in. So
it's the monetary goal, right? A lot of people would abandon things if you're not getting that monetary goal immediately. Sure.
Right.
So with Vox and Hops, I'm striving to eventually make this be my living.
Yeah.
But it's I have a long-term plan where I'm pushing towards that.
Yeah.
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 So a lot of people have this short-sighted vision of, I'm going to make money now, and if you don't, it doesn't work. And and a podcast it's hard to make money from a podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to create Vox and Hops as more than that, as almost its own entity. Me from Cryptopsy, I'm seeing everything, the reaction to all the projects that I have coming up, and I'm very, very excited and thrilled. The whole Thirsty Thursday gang that occurred so naturally.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, me just reaching out to friends, at first just alumni.
Yep.
And saying, do you want to hang out with me on Thursday on Zoom? And we were like 25 people. And then I was like, this is really cool. Let's open it up to the public and just hang out and drink some beers on Thursdays.
So awesome.
It's been a year now that we're doing this. And we were 50 people for like a few weeks in a row. And then I was like, we're going to have to do 2 sessions because I want everyone to be able to talk.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I did it every week from March of last year until August, end of August. And then I've changed the format to doing where I host once a month, the first Thursday of every month. And I bring on an alumni and I interview them live in front of them, the Thirsty Thursday gang. And then the Thirsty Thursday gang asks questions at the end of the episode, and then the next Thursday, it's a whole episode that comes out, a brand new thing. So I just did one this Thursday with Eliseo and Charles from Abysmal Dawn. It was super fun.
Oh man.
But they still hang out every week, whether I'm there or not.
Yeah,
the Thirsty Thursday gang. It's crazy. And the community, the beer trading that I'm seeing happening, the friendships. I know that when I go on tour and I go through Boston, I know Evan Welch is going to be there. He's going to come out. Yeah. We're going to go to dinner, and I've seen him more than I've seen my friends. I know more about him. He started a podcast called Whispers from the Void from a dude from Quebec City, a guy from Boston, with a dude from Quebec City because of Thirsty Thursday. It's crazy. It's insane. So I could have paid a marketing department, create me a community. Yeah.
Right.
Charge me $10,000. Whatever. I don't know. They wouldn't have made something as organic as Thirsty Thursday. And that's just happenstance. The pandemic.
That's people.
It's basically like your local bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of the people don't even listen to the podcast. They just like the community. It's insane. It's super cool. Boston.
To be able to make that kind of stuff happen as a positive result from the pandemic is pretty awesome.
It's my best thing that's happened from the pandemic. It's crazy.
And that word, the use of the word community, I think is like just perfect, spot on, because I think it really resonates back to like what Jimmy and I have been doing with this, which is it's everyone. Like we've had on everyone from the entrepreneur to the cancer warrior, and now those folks, they're watching now, and they feel a part of a community that's trying to shed light, create positivity through a tough time, and bringing folks on like yourself to have them hear you talk, because you're extremely articulate and you're spot on. You could tell you're laser beam focused on what you want to accomplish, and that's completely what this whole CKD thing's about. It's just crushing, killing, destroying through anything that's in the way to get where you want to go, and it's just great. It's awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, dude. I want to make sure people know if they want to follow you. I think the Instagram obviously is good. Vox and Hops on Instagram.
Yeah, add Vox and Hops on
highly recommended as well,
and voxandhops.com.
Absolutely. So we have I usually do a giveaway. We got a couple of people hanging out with us, Matt. If you don't mind hanging with us, we'll do it'll give us a chance to explore our beer while these guys rack their brains about this trivia stuff that we do.
Sure. Yeah, I will take a Matt break while you do this.
Take a Matt break.
I've got this open.
Is that you got Ed's beer? Oh wow.
We got Lasting Brass, baby.
That's a good one, man.
Topping it off.
Lasting Brass. Little
we got a little peach crumble. Little peaches, the milk, sugar, vanilla, and graham crackers.
Oh, you know what, dude? We got a couple of people. I think we could drop this new product quickly, and we'll talk about it more during the week. There's only a couple guys hanging out, a couple people hanging out, but they'll get first dibs on new product. If you guys want to spread the word or DM me and ask me more questions.
Christine needs more vodka.
Christine's vodka's going, yeah. But
yeah, let's do it, dude.
I did a little teaser. All right, man, I got to do a little product drop here. It's.
I think people are going to be excited.
Yeah, I'm going to do a quick product drop, and then we're going to do some trivia. This is a new Crush, Kill, Destroy product, which should be on the website by Monday. So these have been in the works for a while. Here it is.
The idea of style and competing for the best style is the key to all forms of rocking.
Fucking flannels, huh? little spaz playing in the background there, which is awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, so those should be on the website by Monday.
Sweet. Be on the lookout, people.
Be on the lookout. So let's do our trivia.
Yeah, baby. Here we go.
Like 6 quick questions, and I write down names of. It's always based on who can really answer the quickest because the internet is kind of wacky. But here we go. So. Chuck said, "Fuck yeah, flannels." Christine's like, "Got any in pink?" All right. So we have our trivia here. In the vein of musicians that have adapted other names, I think thinking about Dan from Cryptopsy and becoming Lord Worm at some point kind of made me think about this, Matt. So
episode 82, he tells us where it came from.
I know. You're not allowed to answer, but I'll ask you if you knew these. Some of them may be pretty easy. So, and we always encourage people to cheat and just jump on Google. So it's a matter of. So the stage name of the following people. These are their real names. There's some I actually did not know. So our first. Our first one is Robert Bartley Cummings might be found walking with the dead under this name. I usually know they're a little. They might be tricky. I don't know. Christine says she's got her fingers ready. So, did you know this, Corey? Actually,
this was the one that I would have guessed that I would have probably got right. The only one of all of them.
Yeah, we try to throw some hints where, to kind of help people out if they're struggling. But in the meantime, I cracked one of the beers that you had, Corey. It's the This is the Tickle Party, Matt. This is one of my buddy Craig's artwork. It's almost borderline dystopian. Oh yeah, it's pretty wacky.
Well, there's that whole thing, the Tickle documentary there.
Yeah, exactly. And I cracked open from Lasting Brass. This is a sour IPA called Mixmaster, and it's peach crumble, milk, sugar, vanilla, and graham crackers.
Which sounds
tasty.
That beer, and this is my buddy Ed. Like I was saying, I read the description. I was like, I don't know. I had that. I tasted it, and it blew me away, man. It was so good. So I should try.
Sounds like the brewery I was with last night, Pub Brewski. They make killer things like that.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Are you into sours at all, or?
I'm into everything. I'm
Nice.
a notorious beer drinker.
So we have Joe got this. This is Joe. So yeah, Rob Zombie.
Good job.
I usually write down like who guesses the trivia, and then
Joe.
The next day I look at
cheating is okay. We've already covered this.
Yeah, the next day I look at my handwriting and I'm like, oh, I don't know who I'm supposed to send stuff to because I can't read my handwriting. Next one. This is a good one. Okay, Conrad Lant went to war with the devil with this name. So Conrad Lant is his birth name. He had a different stage name, and Corey and I listened to this band when we were teenagers. This band actually scared me when I was a kid. I
know which band it is. I don't know the name though.
Yeah, it actually scared me. So
and honestly, I remember. If Mike's on, I don't know if Mike's on, but I remember listening to this record up in his attic with his brother Scott, like just again blown away because it's you're going from like Ozzy, Judas Priest, Metallica, now you're Venom, Merciful Fate. You're like, what's going on?
Christine got it, so it's Kronos.
Oh, look at you.
From Venom, and like I heard like At War with Satan, and I was like, I was questioning if I should be listening to it, even at 16, smoking pot, and I was like, whoa, it's like At War,
crazy.
Nice job, Christine.
Nice job.
Yeah, it was brutal. Venom.
Yeah,
it's all about it. It's awesome. All right, let's see. We are on number 3 here. This is my personal favorite.
Yeah.
Terrence's first band, Rare Breed, with his buddy John, was the beginning of something legendary with this now equally fitting name, which means he's an old dude. So that's a little bit of a hint. But I just recently heard him referred to as Terrence. And I don't think I knew this. Did you know this, Corey?
No. This was one I did not know. No.
Yeah. So I actually, and it's funny because someone from I had a post of a video I had done, and someone said they were paying homage to the band and saying, "Oh yeah, great cover tune, blah blah blah," and they named him as Terrence, and I said, "Terrence, and I said, oh wow, that's amazing." So Rare Breed, if you Google it, you're gonna find it pretty quickly.
No, it's just type. Just get it typed in, you'll get it.
So
like I said, this is one of those ones where, I would have never remotely guessed it.
Yeah.
No.
I think we're gonna have to get I'm gonna have to get you another care package, Matt. I'm thinking about all the beers we've talked about and the styles, and I'm like, I actually. I think it's that thrill, almost like the mosh pit, where you make it through, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't say it, but fuck it, packing up the stuff, and I'm like, I hope it gets to
you
where.
packed it really well.
Oh, thank you.
Really well. The Ziplocs there, very, very, very cool.
I talked to a bunch of people. I just sent some more stuff out to California, and it was like Ziplocs and industrial tape and
very well done
bubble packing and stuff. So it worked out pretty good. But.
Chuck, you should cheat again. Come on,
Chuck.
Cheat, Chuck. You could do it. Jimmy even said what it was. Rare Breed. Just type it in.
Are you shifting in the types of beer that you're drinking, Matt? Like like pilsners and stuff? Are you like, it seems to go in like waves of like, I find myself, I'll order something a little bit lighter these days or more crispy, you know, because I was on the IPAs, like I was stuck on those for a long time.
I love hazies still. It's the sugar. We're addicted to the sugar. That's what it is. They're sweet as fuck, and we just, our bodies just want them.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's true.
Give me the internet and the sugar.
But I am going to wrap up with this one, though.
I hope you don't have too much to do tomorrow, because that's a heavy hitter right there.
It's not so bad. It's only 5.8.
Oh, is it really? Actually,
yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, the ghost pigeon it creeps up on me.
We'll see. I'll let you know.
All right, guys. If you're not going to guess this, come on now. Terrence's first band, Rare Breed, with his buddy John, was the beginning of something legendary. With now, if you want it, do I need to give them a hint, Corey?
I don't know. I mean, you already sort of did. If they would type Rare Breed in,
I mean, I could tell you John's last name.
Do that.
John. It was John Osborne. So Terrence's buddy John Osborne were in a band called Rare Breed, and then they met another dude, and they made a legendary band. So come on.
Right now, just to see what happens.
Joe's asking about a metal band from Denmark called Justify Rebellion. I don't know that. Never heard that. No. Okay. All right. If these guys don't get this, I'm just going to go on to the next one. So, you got it? Come on, Christine. Let us know.
I put in Rare Breed and I got it.
Do you know this, Matt?
I do not know this.
I actually, like I said, I just all right. Tell us. Come on, Christine. Tell us so we can move on.
Come on. Do it. She said, okay. So we'll give it to her. It's actually Geezer. It's Geezer Butler. Yeah, it is. Correct.
Yeah, which I had no idea. I didn't know his name was Terrence. So
yeah, so interestingly enough, because this little snippet I have here, it says Rare Breed, a late 1960s band whose members included Ozzy Osbourne and Geezer Butler, both of Black Sabbath fame. The Rare Breed 1966 era band, then they reunited again in '84 at some point. I don't know. Crazy.
All right, next one. Vincent Damon Fernier can be found on the green or on the stage, better known by this name.
I know this one.
This just popped up in like some Google News or some shit. My wife was like, "Hey, that's weird."
Fernier.
You know why that is?
It's
Jim, I think I saw that.
Yeah.
There's so this person is referred by their real name.
Jeff got it.
Like one.
Yeah, damn right. I knew that one. Yeah.
Matt, have you seen Alice Cooper in live?
I have.
I had a coworker that was completely obsessed with him, and he's like, "You gotta go," and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And then I went to the show, and it was such a production. I was so into it, man. It's like
it was awesome. I brought my dad. I brought my dad, but we played this crazy fest here in Quebec where Cryptopsy played between Manson and Cooper.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
Wow.
It was crazy.
That's insane.
Incredible. All right, number 5. We're on.
Number 5.
Haim Witz, a.k.a. The Demon, has been slinging blood since the early 70s, best known as... I've done a couple of little videos with my daughter because we have two dolls of these guys, and she's like, "Dad, I want to make a video." So
I know this one too.
Yeah. The Demon. I think The Demon gives it away. The blood and the fact.
If you think about that movie that was made,
so cool.
Demon really
so cheesy, but so.
Christine.
Gene Simmons. Woo!
So many bands. I've interviewed so many bands, and Kiss is always the first one that changed everything.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think
the Beatles and Kiss. I think the Beatles and Kiss are my top answers.
Yeah.
When we talked to Chris Dodge, same thing. He's such a Kiss fan, he told us a story about wanting to buy a record in the record store with his parents.
Yeah.
And he picked it up and they looked at him like, "What? You want that?" And he was so embarrassed, he just put it back and bought you bought like a Donnie and Maria.
That's it.
Okay, guys. Last question here. This kind of blew my mind. I did not know this.
No, this was very weird.
Disturbing and interesting at the same time.
Yeah.
Believing his son would be a great man in the vein of the Messiah, he named him literally, legally, Jesus Christ. His stage performances were just short of crucifixion under this name. This is fucking really wild, man. Like the dude's dad was definitely, you talk about mental illness. He had some stuff going on, and he's definitely known for some very disturbing stage performances, a lot of which involved some blood and poop. So that's your hint right there.
I know who it is.
I didn't know this, and his name comes from his older brother who for some reason couldn't pronounce.
Yeah. I watched the documentary about his family.
Yeah, like what the fuck, man? This blew my mind, dude. I was like, holy crap, man. So his older brother, I from what I understand, couldn't pronounce Jesus, so it was shortened to this.
Someone I wouldn't want to tour with. Yeah.
And I know people that
why you always bring a microphone on stage,
man,
because you don't know if this guy played at the venue before you.
Yeah. Now we live in the age of heightened germs, and kind of freaks me out. But
I just hope that there's bathroom doors after this pandemic. We're all taking dumps in the girls' room before the show. We know that, right?
Plexiglass door. Maybe it would just be plexiglass door, like see-through, and be like.
Jesus, I'm fine with that too.
Christine got it again, so she killed it. That just means I owe her a bunch of stuff. Gigi Allen, like what the fuck? Of
course,
yeah, crazy. That's crazy.
That documentary too. It's also on Prime, I think.
Is it? Yeah, I gotta check that out.
From his brother and his mother, and yeah.
I'm definitely gonna.
I can't remember what it's called.
I'm gonna have to take a look at that. This is the end of our show, man. This was incredible, dude. I really, really appreciate your time. It was insightful and enjoyable. I definitely feel the bruise that I've had, which is fine with me. I'm not going to do too much tomorrow. Vox and Hops. Follow Vox and Hops and Cryptopsy, and you don't do much with your personal page on Instagram.
No, I'm so late. It's that ball that I let fall.
That's all good. The other ones are floating quite nicely.
But thanks for supporting the brand by wearing the hat tonight, which was commendable. I really appreciate that.
It's actually my brand of hat that I like too, though.
Nice.
It's my hat. It's
U-Palm. Yeah, U-Palm. That's like a OG, man.
Nice.
Really good interactive folks tonight. Everyone had
get your friend to write me, please, because I'm really doing a perfect project for him.
Yeah, I could. I would really love to get some stuff together for you and do another care package, because I think you'll dig the beer. Like I said, it's he's super passionate, and it's just super tasty when it comes down to it. It's just really, really super tasty. So
hell yeah.
Cheers to doing what we do, and I wish you well up north, and
thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. And
very much. You are a extremely multifaceted individual, and pleasure to chat with, and look forward to doing it again sometime.
Absolutely. Cheers. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Matt. Thank you so much, man. Salud. Yeah.